Scary story time while I make slime. It's spooky scary month, so you know I had to do it. If this is your story time, DM me because I don't remember who sent me this. I just found it in my notes. So yeah. Get your money's worth and what? Let it drain. Yes, finally the last of it. Yes. So when Kyle was 15 years old, their grandmother had passed away and they ended up moving in their grandmother's house. Their grandmother always had one rule: stay out of the garage. Did I say garage or basement? Stay out of the basement. Growing up, Kyle never got the chance of going into his grandmother's basement once. So obviously when the grandmother passed away, the parents move in and they're renovating a whole bunch of things. And Kyle doesn't have a room, so they were like, how about we give you the basement? Now at first this kind of freaked Kyle out because he had never been in the basement before ever, right? But they said they were going to renovate it and give him his own space, and he liked that idea. At this point, Kyle was sleeping in the living room, and the living room was right next to the basement door. And at nighttime, Kyle could hear like faint tapping noises coming from the basement, but he kind of like shrugged it off as it being like a old pipeline down there because it literally looked like that door hadn't been open for years. So a week or two goes by, and this is where Kyle starts to have the dreams. He starts to have dreams of a little boy telling him, oh, when can I come out, grandma? Like stuff like that. It's like a little creepy boy, and he's just standing in one spot with like these old ugly pajamas on. Y'all see flies flying around my room? It's because they're fruit flies and they won't go away, and I don't know how to get rid of them. I forgot about my peaches, and then like they just, yeah. Anyways, back to the story. So the dreams are clearly freaking him out, so he asked his little sister if he could sleep in her room, and obviously she says yes, but he's still having these dreams. A month after they moved in, they finally started to renovate the basement. Now when they went into the basement, it literally looked like the 1950s. Like it had a room in there, but the room hadn't been touched in God knows how freaking long. So they start ripping up the concrete, ripping up the floors. So they're using a jackhammer on the floor to like get up the concrete when they hit something really hard, and they start digging and they find an old chest. Like it's big. It's a big chest, like one of those like bedside, like I don't know how to explain it. A treasure chest. It's a treasure chest. Now obviously they pull it up because they like, hey, there's probably some money in here, like maybe grandma hit us some good, like, you know, whatever, da, da, da. And when they opened the chest, okay, it was bones from a little boy. Yeah, you heard me. Bones from, oh my gosh, I didn't know there was still water in there. It's going everywhere. Please. Bones from a little boy. Yeah, bones. And it was about the same age that this little boy was having a dream of. Kyle said that the dreams never stopped all the way up until he moved out to go to college, and that was the last time he ever had a dream of like the little boy. But like, that was so creepy because they don't know if the grandma did it. And keep in mind, that house had always been in their family. It was passed down. So these bones could be from ages ago. But the fact that he was having dreams about this little boy saying, grandma, can I come out now? No, you cannot come out now. I forgot to add that it wasn't like one of those dreams where the ghost like wants help. No, like this ghost was like tormenting this boy. Like not only did he have dreams, he was hearing noises, he was hearing whispers when he was going to sleep. Like he was getting tormented for real. His sister was completely unbothered. It was literally just him. And again, even after they found the bones, he was still getting tortured. I experienced a sleep paralysis demon, so scary story time while I make slime. The first ever sleep paralysis dream I had was when I was 14 years old. At least that's what I can remember. And when I tell you, it was absolutely scary. Get your money's worth and what? Let it drain. You already know. So that specific night, my cousins ended up going over their best friend's house, and I was left to sleep in my cousin's room all by myself. Now, one thing about my cousin's room, it was really dark when it got dark because there was no light in there. You had to either use a lamp or your phone flashlight. And at that time, I didn't even know where the lamp was or the phone flashlight. So I was like, no, like I'm just going to sleep. Before I had went to sleep, I will always play beginner Bible stories on YouTube, and I literally went to sleep to that every single night. And the reason why I did was because I always felt like something was watching me for some reason. I could never explain it, but I felt like something was watching me. So this specific night, I lay down, I go to sleep like normal, and I want to say a good hour into me being asleep, I keep waking up out of my sleep for no reason. Like I just have a feeling that someone is watching me and I can't explain it. And keep in mind, I'm in the room by myself and it's pitch black, okay? So at this point, I'm like, okay, like, I'm just gonna pray myself back to sleep. So that's what I did. I was like, the blood of Jesus. I was saying Hail Marys to go to sleep. Like, y'all, I prayed myself back to sleep. So after that, right, in my dream, I am stuck. And me and my neighbors were talking about this the other day. But bro, when you're experiencing sleep paralysis, it's like this, like, pressure that's holding you down that you can't freaking explain, and you feel it in your stomach. So before it even started, y'all, I felt the pressure in my stomach, and yes, my freaking shaving cream is activating my slime, but I felt the freaking pressure in my stomach before the sleep paralysis started. Okay, so I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, literally in my dream, I'm like, this is weird, like, what's going on? And I remember somebody that I was talking to was like, you're not supposed to be aware. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they were telling me in my dream, me talking to them and like being consciously aware of what's happening is a bad thing. I'm like, okay, like, this is weird. And then out of nowhere, everything stops and I get jolted into the room that I am sleeping in, right? And I'm like, okay, this is strange. And I'm literally stuck in place. I can't move. And so I'm crying. And when I finally do get to move, I'm in this position where I'm looking down at my phone like this. And I literally, like, I'm getting goosebumps. Something tells me to like turn my phone reflection to the back of me, and like I literally am trying my best to even move my arm, y'all. I'm finally moved my arm, and there's like this big black thing in the corner of my my cousin's room, and it's just staring at me, and I can't do anything about it. Like, there's literally nothing I can do but sit here and take it. Like, I'm literally just like like, I'm trying my best, I'm breathing, I'm crying, and this, like, as I'm like turning the phone, it's like jumping from one corner to the next until it's like fully behind me. And when I tell you this thing is like 10 feet tall, y'all, like, it was huge. Keep in mind, I was like 14, and I know I did not imagine this, because when I woke up, I was in a cold sweat, and my room was just like, it had this like, not my room, but my cousin's room had this like weird ominous vibe to it, and I immediately just got up and went to sleep in the living room. I remember waking up and everyone was like, why aren't you in the room? And I was like, no reason on why I'm not in the room. No reason. I think I overactivated this slime. Yeah, I think I should just let it rest. But yeah. Oops. Oh. Bye, guys. Scary story time on how I believe my hotel room is like semi-haunted. Let me stop. This is my favorite glue ever. Okay, y'all, get your money's worth and what? Let it drain. I hate to say it like this, but I believe I brought them here, y'all. I believe I personally brought them here. So it all started at this lake that I went to. The first time that I had gotten in the lake, I didn't feel anything. I didn't have a weird feeling. And then the second time I got into the lake, I had the weirdest feeling. Like, I can't tell you, but it was so weird. And I was like, you know what? I want to get out this lake. Like, it's not a good feeling. So then I ended up going to the beach. Oh, this activates like almost instantly. But I ended up going to the beach, right? And I'm not going to say I had the same feeling at the beach, but it was like semi the same, right? The salt water was beating me up. I'm talking about 1, 2, 3 uppercut, okay? And I look like this because I'm filming a bedrock video on YouTube, Anne-Marie TV 2823. So yeah, the salt water was beating on my eyes. I'm like, okay, like, it's time for me to go. Like, I don't even want to be in this water no more. So then on the way back, I ended up falling asleep. And when I fell asleep, I had a dream of like this man drowning. It was like I was trying to help him, but I couldn't help him. Like, I couldn't do anything about it. And I promise y'all this is real. Like, I'm not making this up. I think I put too much activator, but yeah. So I had a dream about a man like you know, drowning. And then like I had woken up and I didn't even know how to react. Like, I didn't scream when I woke up. I was just like staring off into the distance because I was like, what did I just like, you know, see? So I'm just thinking it's me, because whenever I get into a body of water, I'm always thinking like the worst situations because of anxiety. Oh my God. Because of anxiety, right? So I'm thinking the worst already. And please open nails, don't fail me. Okay, so I'm like, okay, like, this is weird, but whatever. I had brushed it off. So I make it back home, and about like I said, about like a day later or whatever, I ended up having a dream again. But this time, this dream took place in the nighttime. So the dream goes like this. There was 3 men, and I witnessed them all like drown. Like, I witnessed them all drown. And they were like not looking I'm getting goosebumps. They were like looking at me, but not looking at me. And it was like I was trying to help them, but I could not help them. So I was like, this is so weird. And mind you, they were drowning at the places that I had been. So they drowned at the lake. One of them drowned at the lake. No, two of them drowned at the lake. And then the other one drowned at the beach. So I had searched up, like, when I had woke up, I had got the weirdest feeling. So something had told me, like, go search up, like, how many people had, like, unalived in this lake. Yeah, goosebumps. I literally searched up, like, how they drowned and everything or whatever. And I literally read about, like, the news article about how 2 people had drowned, more than 2, but, like, the 2 specific people that I had a dream about, they had drowned in the said lake. Hey, so I explained the timeline insane, so let me try to, like, re-explain so it can make more sense. The first time that I had went to the lake, I had a grand time. It was really fun. I had no feeling of uncomfortableness. The second time I went to the lake was like 2 to 3 days later, and that's when I got in. It felt super weird. I felt super uneasy, and then on the way back to the room, so leaving the lake, on the way back to the room, that's where I had that dream of the man drowning when I was sleeping in the car. And then 3 days later, we had went to the beach. Okay, you still with me? We went to the beach, and then, like, that night I had a dream about the men again drowning. And then when I had woke up from that dream, I searched it up. Yeah, I'm sorry. And then one of the men had drowned in the ocean. Yeah, and I was so spooked, and I literally just, like, went under the covers, and I was so scared. Honestly, I have to add my arch nemesis because this slime is not loosening up. So we're adding instant snow. Yeah. I wish that it just ended there and that was the end of it. And yeah, no. Like I said, it starts with the freaking dreams. So after I had those dreams or whatever, like before I had even told anyone about the dream, the very next day, my family said that they were, like, seeing people in, like, the room. And I was like, what type of people? And they were, like, men. Like, they were seeing, like, 2 men, like, shadows of men, like they don't know what it's about, but they kept seeing men. I was like, what the crap? Like, y'all, at this point, I'm getting goosebumps, but I don't want to tell them because it's like, maybe it's my fault that they're here or whatever. And the very last thing of it, the radio turns on at the, like, out of nowhere. It just flickers on in the middle of the night, and it spooked the crap out of me. And so the next day I had told, like, my family, I was like, I had this dream about these men, and they were like, so you're the one who brought them here. So ever since I had those dreams, I haven't seen them, but I'm not gonna say I haven't, but, like, I've seen, like, maybe somewhat of a shadow, but, like, I can't even tell you if it's just my imagination, but, like, my family has seen them for sure. So yeah, y'all, the slime is loosening up a bit. I just wanted to loosen up. I think I put too much activator. I even added more glue and it just doesn't want to work. I'm gonna get this slime to loosen up, but something that I cannot take accountability for, this is like instant snow, is the one thing that I have seen is a silhouette of a little girl. Like, that's something that I have seen. It's like she wants to play, but, like, yo, I'm scared. Y'all, I have not learned my lesson with cloud slime. I don't think I ever will learn my lesson. Like, this stuff is so freaking messy, and I continue to do it. So I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what that means, because I've seen that and I didn't have no idea. And y'all, I wish I was lying, but I wasn't. Like, I'm not lying. I would not lie about something like this. It freaked me the crap out when I had first seen it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to activate this, y'all. But yeah, what do y'all think of it? I'm gonna activate this and then I'm gonna come back to y'all, or reactivate this and then I'm gonna come back to y'all, because this is just too messy. I think I'm actually successfully making cloud slime. And I wasn't even intending to make cloud slime this time, and the slime smells like amazing, but I somehow, some way, I think adding the glue, like, helped, like, mix everything together. Okay, y'all, look, I think I successfully did it. I think I did. I successfully, like, finally made cloud slime, because I don't think my last video, I don't think that was successful. Like, I don't think that was successful enough. All right, y'all, I actually accomplished making cloud slime. I cannot believe it, but I did. Period. Go check out my YouTube channel. I just hit 5,000 subscribers. Scary story time while I fix store-bought slime sent in by my supporters. Disclaimer, y'all, this is not my story. It was sent in by a supporter, and this slime is called Rainbow Sherbet, and it's from the Dollar Tree. Jumping into it, you got this girl named Savannah. Now, oh, it smell good. Now, yeah, for this summer, Savannah decided she was going to go on a camping trip with her brother and some of his friends. Okay. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, anyway, now for some reason they decided that they wanted to go camping in the middle of freaking nowhere. Why? I don't know. They're gonna be camping on a mountain, so they had to take. Oh, so they had to take this trail to get to the camping area, y'all. But for some reason, the trail that they were trying to go on was completely blocked, so they had to kind of go around the trail. Never do that, y'all. If the trail is blocked, go home. Now, Savannah's brother was like, we should go home. Like, we should go home. And Savannah and his friends was like, nah, like, we not gonna go home. Like, stop being boring. Like, we already made it all the way out here. Like, no, we camping here. Now, me personally, I'm with the brother. I'm going home. I'll pick y'all up tomorrow. Now, after like an hour or two of walking, they could not find the camping area. So one of the brother's friends suggested them to just camp right there and then head back in the morning. Now, Savannah's brother, he still ain't having it. He like, y'all, I got a bad feeling. Like, I think we should go. Like, I don't like this. And, you know, they calling him a wuss. They still calling him a wuss, whatever. So they all decide to set up camp. They setting up camp at this point. You know, they're getting comfortable. They're eating hot dogs, telling stories, whatever. Now, they end up, like, going to sleep. Savannah and her brother share a tent. And at around, like, 2:45 in the morning, Savannah hears her brother outside of the tent calling, like, saying, come here, Savannah. Like, come here. Like, I need your help. And at first, I just got goosebumps. But at first, she's like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you calling me? Like, what? So she gets up and she opens the tent, half awake. She opens the tent and she's like, bro, where are you? Like, what are you doing? And she hears her brother say it again, like, come here. Like, I need you. I'm by the tree. I need your help. So she opens her eyes and that's when she sees her brother facing, like, his back is facing her. So she can't even see her brother's face. She just sees his back. I have freaking goosebumps. Can y'all see that? I hate that feeling. She just sees like his back facing her. So she's like, what are you doing? Like, you know, because she's still thinking this is her brother. And then like maybe like 2 minutes of having conversation with whatever that was, her brother is still in the tent with her. And he goes, what are you doing? And she's like, like she literally freezes. And he's like, bro, like, are you good? And she's like, so she looks back at her brother and then turns around to look at like him outside. He's not there anymore, y'all. And from there, problems just started to arise. Everybody is up at this point and you just hear like everyone's just like confused, asking what is going on. And so Savannah goes like, if you hear me call you, I'm in my tent, do not answer. That is not me. Like, that's not me. So, like 30 minutes later, Savannah's brother's friend, he's having a full-fledged conversation with whoever he's talking to. Because at this point, whatever it is like shape-shifting into them. But it never shows its face. It's always like turned the other side, the other way. Savannah in the tent is just trying to convince everybody to stay in their tent. Just like lock up the tent, just stay awake until morning, and they're out of there. At this point, day is breaking. It's like 6 in the morning and they finally leave the tent and they see one of their friends just shaking like backwards and forth. Obviously, like not all the way there. They literally had to force him to get up to make it back to the car. And you would think, okay, that's it. They had a crazy night. They were lost in the woods because they didn't stay on the trail. I think that this is the best this slime is going to get. I mean, it's a little more stretchy and I mean, it's definitely not pokey. So they're literally lost and they don't make it to the car. They don't make it to their car until about like 9:30. Remember, they woke up and started moving around like 6:30 and they didn't make it into their car until like 9:30. They were all freaked out, disoriented. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Anyways, they were all freaked out. That's all we got to say. And yeah, they never went on a trip to the mountains again. And then when they made it back into the car to look where they were at, they couldn't find it on the map. They couldn't find it on the satellite, the map, Google Maps. They couldn't find it nowhere. So God knows where they was at. Like, only God knows. Safe to say, this is why I don't go camping. And if I ever was to go camping, it would be in my backyard. What y'all think about this slime? Y'all think I fixed it? I don't know. I feel like it's definitely more stretchy, but it just doesn't poke. And it still smells really good. Like, scary story time while I reactivate this slime. Oh my gosh. I get my money's worth, so get yours. Yeah. It just looks like I put a whole bunch of glue all over the table, bro. Ghost in the backyard edition. Like, So this happened when I was in elementary school. I was definitely a little kid, and I remember I was in my like room at the time, and I was like doing something with my sisters. I cannot remember, but I was at my dad's house, and I remember that room always gave me the heebie-jeebies at nighttime because it was just creepy. I don't know, but I loved being in it in the daytime because of the windows, right? The way this room was kind of set up was that I can see kind of half of the front yard and then the backyard, right? I can see that. Now, I remember like minding my business with my siblings and then seeing like a man walking along the sidewalks in front of the house. Now, this man kind of had his head down and he looked like he was minding his business. So I'm not thinking it's a big deal. Time goes on, my sisters go to their room, and I completely forgot that this man walked by, right? I'm chilling next to my window, and next thing you know, I see this same man that I seen earlier in my backyard walking around my dad's garden just like in circles. Just he did like 2 or 3 times. I'm looking at this man, like full on staring at him. He doesn't make eye contact with me once, and then I see him like kind of walk in the direction where my window is to kind of hide behind our playhouse. When he ducked behind like the playhouse, I ducked too. So I duck and I'm like kind of peeking over my bed through my window. I see him get up, make direct eye contact with my window, walk into like this corner where this like old tree was, and he's just there. He's out of my view. So I immediately run to my dad. I'm like, Dad, there's a creepy man in our backyard. Like, you gotta get him. Like, he's creepy. He was just in our backyard. So obviously concerned, he gets up, he goes to the backyard, he checks all the places where I tell him to check, and he's like, look, there's nobody back here. Like, what are you on? Like, there's no one back here. And I'm like, no, there is. Like, he went behind this way, like that, just tripping off of it. I know some people are gonna be like, okay, where's the scary part? Like, this is not scary, y'all. To describe my old house and its backyard, we had this huge fence that like you couldn't climb up unless you had some type of assistance. You needed assistance to climb this wall. So everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy because what are you talking about? Like, there's nobody back here. And I'm just trying to like explain myself, like, I promise I'm not crazy. Like, I'm not making this up. I'm not gonna say they didn't believe me, but I feel like they definitely thought I was tripping. I remember in that same night, I seen this man standing by my bay window, and I was terrified, and I hardly ever slept in that room again. So that's the scary part, and no one believed me. And I know a lot of y'all don't believe my story times, but I couldn't make this up, y'all. Like, that man was in my backyard, and I seen him. Like, I can still remember every detail about this man to this day. Bye. Scary story time on how I was left at school until 9 p.m. and a stranger drove me home while I make slime. Period. Yeah. I was like 14 years old when this happened. Y'all already know. Get your money's worth in what? Let it drain. So boom. This is freshman year. I already mentioned I was 14, and this is also the year my auntie ended up getting sick with cancer. So with that being said, all of like the responsibility fell on my older cousin, and sometimes you forget things when you're dealing with bigger things. So I got dropped off at like 8:30, 8 p.m. and I got let out of school at like 2:15, 2:20, okay? Y'all already know, when you get let out of school, sometimes people are going to be talking in front of the school. Some people are walking home. Other people are walking to the store. Like, everyone's doing their own thing. So at this point, I'm tired. I've been in school all day. So I go to my designated spot. This is warm water with baking soda, but I already knew it was going to be a minute before somebody came to pick me up because for some reason they would go pick up my cousins first when my cousin's school was further than mine. For some reason the baking soda did not work this time, but whatever. But anyways, this usually took around like 15-20 minutes for them to go to their school and then mine. I was in my spot, I was in my zone, and I was too afraid to whip out my Android. I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know what, I'm tired. I don't know where anybody is. I'm tired. Let me just kick back my feet and lay back. I'm also going to add some of this slime. But anyways, yeah. It's actually the front of my old school, but I'd lay down on this thing. These are kids like on it, but like literally I would just lay down where these kids are sitting, but on the other side. Like, I'm going to close my eyes for a couple of seconds. Like, it's not going to be that freaking long. Okay, y'all, I messed up the time schedule. I actually got let out of school at like 3:40. Everything still applies, but the time is different. So I actually went to school at like 7:30 and then got out at like 3:40. So at this point, I lay down and I go to sleep, okay? And I started to feel uncomfortable, so I woke up and I'm like, you know, what time is it? Like, where is everybody at? What time is it? Y'all, it was 4:40 and I was still in front of the school by myself. So at this time, I'm looking at my phone being delusional, and I'm like, okay, maybe they got held up at practice, like maybe something important happened, you know, that's probably what's going on here. And I just decide to connect to the Wi-Fi, and I start texting my people on Text Now, texting people on Instagram, calling them on Instagram and Text Now, because my phone was not on. The sun is starting to set, it's going on 5 o'clock, and the people who do sports, they're leaving the school. Like literally my friend, she's leaving the school and she's walking home. I know people are gonna be like, okay, so why didn't you walk home, you know? And honestly, y'all, I started to think about walking home, but across the street from my school was this park. You know, during the day, like kids would probably skip to the park and they would do things in the park, but during nighttime, the park was actually really creepy to pass by. Really creepy and sketchy, if I'm being honest, but whatever. And then like walking around the park, it was just like longer. It would be a longer walk walking around the park. Like also walking around the park was long, and it was also creepy walking around that way. And at this point, it's already dark. So no, that's a no. And I'm over here being naive, like my family's gonna come pick me up. No, they forgot. Time is going by, time is going by, time is going by. At this point, y'all, the teachers are leaving the school, okay? So I'm just literally in the front of the school, sitting there like, they closed the school gate, y'all. That's how bad it got. And no teacher thought, why is this little kid still sitting in front of the school by herself? None of them thought that. None of them was like, hey, do you need a ride? No. At this point, y'all, I just had no hopes for my family. Like, I was like, I have to suck it up and walk through this park, or walk around like the park, walk through the park. And I'm so scared. I'm just gonna pray the entire time I walk. But I was so scared, y'all. I could have sworn I seen like a figure looking at me through the trees. Okay, I was scared. In my head, I'm thinking everybody else in school, they're gone. Like, I'm just the only one at the school. No. Actually, my lifesaver. I forgot to add that it was only getting colder, and at this point I was literally freezing. I was freezing cold. And out of nowhere, I start to hear students coming out of like the gates. And I'm like, what? Like, people are still here? And next thing you know, I see my lifesaver, Evan. Evan was a kid that I transferred to school with, and he was so nice. Like, me and him were like, we were friends in the beginning, and then we became acquaintances. And he see me, he was like, oh, hey. And I was like, hi. And he was like, what are you still doing here? And I was like, I'm just waiting for my family to come pick me up, because I'm still being delusional. I'm still holding on to hope. He mentioned it. What? He mentions it again, and I'm like, you're good. And then like all of his teammates, they get picked up, and his mom pulls up last, and he's on his phone, and I'm over there just freezing with my backpack. And he comes up to me one more time, and he's like, are you sure you don't need a ride? And in that moment, I was so scared, because his mother could be, for all I know, you know. So I'm like, yeah, like, I need a ride. And he was like, okay, like, I'm just gonna tell my mom real quick. And she's like, sweetie, come on. I get in the car, and I was actually scared, but I get in the car and I'm praying, and she's like, why are you out here so late? And I'm like, I think an emergency happened at home. Like, I'm literally making up all the excuses I can, because I'm still thinking an emergency happened. Whatever, she drives me home, because again, I literally like lived like 5 to 10 minutes away from the school, if even that. More like 3 minutes when you're driving. I get home, and she's like, okay, like, stay safe. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And that was that. I literally walked inside, and I was like, literally everyone was like, where were you? And I was like, I was at school. And they were like, oh, like, you had like after school program? And I was like, no, you guys forgot to pick me up. And they were like, what? Like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, like, you know, I'm just gonna say older cousin forgot to pick me up. And she was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry, and da-da-da-da. And that was that, honestly. And that wasn't even the last time, unfortunately. Scary story time, Appalachian Mountains, while I try to reactivate this store-bought slime. P.S. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Like, I really been searching up how to pronounce that word. Lighting is trash, but it was like, yeah, it's so gooey. Anyways, this story time takes place in the Appalachian Mountains, and it was sent in by a supporter. Now, like always, disclaimer, I can't tell y'all if this is real or not. It was sent in to me. So Layla and her boyfriend decided to rent a cabin in the Appalachian Mountains, or at least near it. Get your get her money's worth and what? Let it drain. She knew little to nothing about the place that she was going because her boyfriend was the one that rented the cabin. Now, where they were going, again, why do people do this? I don't know. They were going in the middle of nowhere with no Wi-Fi, no, just straight remote. The best way to put it. It was for their anniversary, so she thought it was just like a cute little thing. Now, her boyfriend was like, have you ever heard the creepy stories about the Appalachian Mountains? And she was like, man, that's just, man, that ain't real. It ain't real, you know? Layla wasn't the type of person to believe in ghost stories, anything that had to do with spirits or the supernatural. She didn't believe in it. Now, like always, the first couple of nights were fine. They had rented the cabin for a week, and the first 3 nights, there were no issues. Now, the fourth night, that was where the problems came in at. Okay, sorry. Layla woke up at 2:58 in the morning. She heard 2 knocks. She has no idea where they were coming from, but she heard it. Also, following the second knock, I'm getting goosebumps. She heard whistling. Now, if y'all don't know anything about them scary stories about the mountains, don't ever. When it gets night, you're not supposed to be outside. She tried to wake her boyfriend up. His name is Josh, by the way, but he was knocked out cold. So she went to go see who was knocking this late at night when all of a sudden she got goosebumps all over her body. And it was just like something stopping her from going to go check out whatever she heard. Now, she went back to bed. She was completely freaked out, but she brushed it off, as they always do, but she brushed it off. Now, the next night, she heard the same thing. She gets up, she gets goosebumps all over her body, and she gets this urge to lay back down, so that's what she does. But on the, the 6th night at this point, she's like, no, I have to get up. I need to check out what it is. Now, she followed where the knocks were coming from, and they were coming from the window. Now, when she looked out of the window, y'all, it was pitch black. It was just straight woods, and she kept hearing whistling. Oh my gosh, I got goosebumps. Can y'all see that? And it was just like something drawing her outside, basically. And then as she went to go close the window, she heard her name from outside, and it was her boyfriend calling her. Oh my God. I'm literally scared right now. I'm not trying to seem like I'm doing too much, but I'm literally by myself right now. So right as she was about to go outside, her boyfriend basically called her back to bed. She went back to bed. She brushes this off, y'all. She brushes this off. I don't know why she would when her boyfriend is in bed, but he's calling her from outside. But she doesn't believe in, supernatural. I'm stuttering, but whatever. The next night, okay, her boyfriend is up this night. He hears the knocks, and he's like, are these the knocks that you've been hearing? And she was like, yeah, but I don't think it's anything. It's probably old pipes or, a cat. I don't know why people who don't believe in ghosts just make up the most craziest things, but yeah, that's what she told him. He was like, girl, no. Do you know where we are? Now, y'all, the knocks are driving her completely crazy. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And she's like, I have to investigate. I can't take this anymore. Now, she gets out of bed. Her boyfriend is not all the way asleep. He's half asleep. So right as she's about to open the window, y'all, she sees a man, just straight in the distance, a man. And she gets spooked out by this, obviously. And the man is calling her name in a familiar voice. And it's drawing her in, and it starts whistling. Now, she about to walk to the front door to go investigate, because she over here in her head, she literally writes and says, I thought that he needed help. Honey, no. Right as she was about to open the door, her boyfriend stops her and goes, so what are you doing? And she's like, there's a man outside. He was calling my name. He was whistling he needs my help. He was probably whistling to get my attention for help, or our attention for help. And her boyfriend is looking at her like she's crazy, and he's like, that's it, we're going home. And she's like, what's wrong? What's your issue? He was like, no, we're going home. So they wait till the next day, obviously morning. They get in the car, they drive home. They didn't even finish their stay, y'all. She's like, why are you acting like this? You literally made us pack up all our bags in the middle of the night. We're leaving today. We didn't even get to finish our stay. What's going on with you? And he tells her, you've never heard any of the tales of the Appalachian Mountains. You think things are supernatural isn't real, but there's some places that you just don't mess with for real. And she's like, bro, I told you, none of that stuff is real. And he goes on to tell her, if you were outside, you would no longer be here. And she's talking about what are you talking about? He says that man wasn't a real person. That was a hallucination. Because keep in mind, he was hearing it, but he knew to ignore it because he knew the stories. He kind of knew the area. Why would he bring his girlfriend who doesn't believe in supernatural in a place like this? I have no idea. But this kind of freaks her out a little bit because now that she thinks about it, it was literally driving her mad. Like, it was drawing her to the freaking window, drawing her to the door. And right as she's about to open the door to go outside, it was just like everything was quiet. Like, there was no bugs, there was no nothing, no noise. And so ever since that day, she's believed in supernatural a tiny bit. Again, y'all, I can't tell y'all if these stories are real. They were sent into me. You could probably find these stories on the internet somewhere. I have no idea. Stop trying to clock me for saying, oh, I've heard this story before. It was sent into me, okay? Okay, bye.